Welcome to the Indian Sun. I'm excited to have with me today four remarkable individuals who have come together to contribute to an extraordinary book to gallery experience that bridges art, culture, and migration. I'm joined by Melbourne based author Nandita Chakraborty, whose memoir, Dirty Little Secrets, has inspired this book to gallery experience. I also have with me Samantha Lord, a prolific, passionate First Nations artist, Shipra Anand, a digital creator, and Laura Bailey, an emerging artist from Victoria. Welcome, guys, and congratulations for pulling off this great exhibition.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Hello.
Thank you, everyone.
I'm
Thank you
going
so
to start, yeah. I'm going to start my question with Nandita, who I believe is the cornerstone of this exhibition. Your memoir serves as the foundation for this immersive sensory experience. What inspired you to extend your story beyond the written word and create this transformative exhibition? Secondly, how did you get all your six artists together? I mean, from ideation to execution, how much time did it take? Tell us all about it.
the first, like when I wrote Dirty Little Secrets, I had another artist who was helping me around going back 3 years ago. So did a little bit of videography here and there, but it was not until last year, like the Two Worlds Collide started in 2022. Like it just, how can I bring a part of the book so that everyone who can't read, everyone who can't, um, like people with, mainly people with disabilities who can't read the book, perhaps I can give them a taste of the book through some other medium. So last year I came up with this Two Worlds Collide, and then Laura and me are particularly, we work in a library as well. So uh, her idea, like she was already doing her degree from VCA, and we just talked about it. And from that small, we took a stand at the Summer Gallery at Cunahan Gallery in Merribeck. And it all started from there. And then it went, okay, I can do this. It's not difficult. So we can create this. But behind, um, it was already an idea, a concept of Two Worlds Collide. So the idea was to get other artists involved in it. So I've already had Rohit, who did the cover of the book, and through Rohit, through the other artist who helped me with my book, I got to know Akshay, who did a beautiful videography about because he's a theater artist. And then we
And they're not,
slowly,
sorry, and they're not both here today, but they're based in India, and you collaborated. Yeah, that's
yes, yeah, and they both are unmistakably beautiful, very famous in their own field. Rohit is a cartoonist as well, but he does a lot of mythological characters. He brings them to life, which you'll see a part of his painting in the exhibition as well. And Akshay is a TEDx, what he called, speaker as well as an artist. He's doing his residency overseas as well. So, and he's a dramaturg too. So from there, we started the journey, and then I came into contact with Shipra uh, through my Cunahan Gallery, and that's a story in itself. That's a long, unwinding story that for some other day we will talk about it. So that's how we came to know. And then this beautiful, beautiful Samantha, who I met through, I met through what I call through art as well. And we started talking. We said, oh, we should do this, we should do that. So it was difficult to bring everyone together, but it was also easier to promote us together because we all spoke the same language as art.
yeah, I know. As
So,
artists,
yeah.
with the same inclination, I suppose it didn't take long to get together and start this project. But I'm also wondering when you say two worlds collide, right? So I'm imagining obviously a fusion of two worlds, and coming from you, I'm assuming it's the East meets West kind of a story in the sense that it's Australia meets India. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what elements have you brought in this project, and what does two worlds collide? What message does this project give?
So the Two Worlds Collide is basically, look, I always believed in two things, like as an internal part of human being that you are, or an artist that you live with constantly. And there's this constant transformation about the two worlds, that one, your culture from India, then one, the artist that you're inside. And then the external world of that artist, whether it's a country or whether it's the way I live in or whether the way I see the world as. So, plus I have the other part of as a neurodivergent as well. So I want to all amalgamate all this into one. And then I said to all my beautiful artists here, here's a book, read it. Some of them has and some of them hasn't. But I say to them that this is the idea that we are trying to build here. So what do you think that we can transform this? So everyone has got their own pieces of that individuality into this art form to bring it as two worlds collide. So your world could be different about, but it's always a similar what brings us as human beings together. Like it's the food, the culture, the memories. And it's also about how we don't want to lose ourselves, in that identical crisis and that displacement. So we just have to, what you call it, piece by piece, gather all this together and make this into one big format of art. So that's what you're going to see and transport into another world. Yeah, that's
Samantha. Yeah, I'm going to come to Samantha next. I introduced you as a First Nations artist, but I'm sure that's a very scant introduction of you. Before I come to your question on the project, tell us a bit more about your work.
I've grown up with a giant family of artists. My mum was a 40-plus year high school art teacher, and my grandmother was a famous textile artist, and she's from a family of 9, my mum, and on the side, besides working or not, a lot of them were artists and carpenters and all sorts of things, photographers. And I used to soak all the information up like a sponge as a kid, and I do a lot of different mediums. But I love my textiles, which I've had a lot of success with, like one-off crochet and knitting and hats and clothing and that kind of thing. Done silversmithing, and also I paint and draw, and I suppose I'm excelling at that.
Yeah. Lovely. So how
lots of different mediums. I'll try anything. Like I'll make anything in the house.
And that's
decoupage, collage, mosaic, whatever. Have a go at everything and learn through mistakes, and spending a lot of time, luckily recreational at times, where I haven't had to particularly be doing it to sell passionately. But at the moment I'm on an Indigenous scholarship to a big art school in Melbourne, and I only got a trimester or so left, and I'll have a Bachelor of Visual Arts and Design.
Fantastic. How did you weave together your Indigenous artistic heritage with the themes of migration in this exhibition? And I know your dot paintings, I've just saw that video clip of yours before this, where you say it reflects a strong connection to the land and an identity, resonating very much with Nandita's journey to a new home, as described in her book.
Yes, well, my tribe comes from Queensland. They're called the Budgety tribe, but I grew up all my youth in Alice Springs in the 80s and 90s. And I saw the whole journey of dot painting, and I had about 4 Indigenous relatives, one being my grandma too, that on the side from being a nurse and that kind of thing, would dot paint around me since I was a kid. My mum actually, though she's not Indigenous, went in the 70s up to a community in Alice Springs when she was in art school and met my father and his family. And my nana and grandpa were running a community called Armada out there, which is Pitjantjatjara tribe. And they fell in love. And so my mum was actually at Yuendamu, which is an Aboriginal community, the day the first acrylic dot painting was ever done on a door. So she was right there, and I do feel a lot of connection through that and understand all the symbolism. Usually I probably do more realism and impressionism, and I have quite a few different bodies of art and painting going. I even do abstract geometrics, which is another whole Kandinsky kind of avenue I've been going in the last few years. But I just did some dot paintings lately, which I haven't done for 30 years, and I found it really cathartic. I had stuff to do for uni too, so I mixed this exhibition where I'm collaborating with Shipra and she's doing traditional Bengalese women's folk art around I did a dot painting of a revered rainbow serpent that made our tribe's land up in Queensland. Rainbow serpent's a pretty famous Australian story, there's even kids' books about it. But it wiggled around and made all the landscapes and lakes and creeks and water holes and that kind of thing. And my nana would do different versions of it. So that's what I put in as one of my 2 dot paintings, which I'm collaborating on the same piece of artwork with Shipra, with her stuff around mine. And it was just sort of a mixing of traditions of Indian and Indigenous, and both Indigenous backgrounds,
Yeah, it's really interesting because when you mix, the Indigenous and the Indian traditions, did you find some similarities? Of course, the polka and the dot, which Shipra does in her work. But apart from that, are there any other similarities?
Let me think.
Or something that resonates?
Just how ancient, I suppose.
Yeah.
The background from where these have come from. And I love Indian culture and their textile artwork. One of my paintings is a piece of Indian edging material that I've painted really meticulously with a tiny paintbrush. And also a giant lover of peacocks and that kind of thing. My grandparents had a flock on their farm in South Australia. And I've actually got a giant peacock all over my arm here.
Oh, yeah.
Good thing we found out later.
Yeah. All right.
I have peacocks over there, and I can identify with that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's wonderful. Laura, I know you and Noni, as you said, share a friendship of sorts because you both work together, and your work frequently, touches themes of personal and collective memory in the context of this exhibition. How did you approach capturing the emotional and sensory dimensions of migration?
Good question. I think a lot of the work that I've done in the last few years has been exploring my family heritage, which I feel like sort of connects a little bit with Nandita's story of looking into the past and then also how it affects you in the present and future. And so I feel like we sort of share themes in that sense. But in terms of conveying like the emotional aspect of Nandita's story, I'm working on 2, I guess they're sculptures, both of Nandita that represent the two worlds of her life, particularly her Indian heritage and then her life in Australia. And so I'm hoping that those works will kind of speak for themselves when they're in the gallery. And I think hopefully still working on them. Yeah. I'm hoping they turn out how I imagine in my mind, and that they're quite beautiful. I've been able to use some sari fabric that a friend has given to me, and some of Nandita's clothing for Australian representation sculpture. So there are quite a lot of personal elements, and I'm hoping that will evoke.
And what do you hope the audience will take away from engaging with your art in this immersive experience?
I think it's a hard question.
Well, they should just enjoy the experience, I suppose. And
I hope it comes in the midst of the other artworks. There's going to be quite a few sort of intersecting elements to the exhibition, and so my works will be hanging from the ceiling with another installation of marigolds and bells and things like that. So hopefully people will just enjoy it because it's beautiful, but also thinking about the elements that maybe represent them.
We'll I'm imagining this is going to be a huge, big fusion and like a big kaleidoscope of life kind of thing, isn't it? My imagination run over time. I'm not an artist, but I can imagine a lot.
I think a lot of us can connect with the reflecting on our. I know I do it a lot. Analyze history and my past and the family and where different
People get to remember us more for our food, I think.
Yeah, food.
You know why? I'll tell you why. Because
but heaps of things, and you're really hard workers, and you're just really lovely natured people, you know, and I appreciate that. Yeah, very ornate, decorative culture too, and I love so many aspects of that kind of thing.
Yeah, and the other thing is, of course, all our hospitality is centered around food, which is why people remember us more for food. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to come to Shipra. You're a digital artist. Your Alpona and Rangoli art are deeply rooted in the cultural heritage that resonates with the author, which is Nandita's background. How does this traditional art form facilitate a connection between viewers and the authors, which is Nandita's cultural roots? And how did you adapt these elements for the digital and immersive context of this exhibition?
Yeah.
Long question.
End of the day, it's a thing we talk about in one line. If I need to say that, it's about the two worlds, two different worlds, connecting the two worlds. Yeah. As you have already mentioned me, like a digital design, digital creator, I must say that, it's been like more than 15 years. I'm in the digital design world, like doing all the sorts of user experiences for apps, desktop, tablets, you know, so basically rooted in the digital world. But I must say that we are all doing into a profession due to certain reasons, all have their specific reasons. So I must say that I'm into this digital design world because firstly, I'm an artist. So just to mention that after my graduation in biological science, I did a 3 years diploma course in software training. Later, when I realized that it is actually going to, you know, take my art to the next level. So I've been painting, literally taking part in every other on the spot painting competitions and winning them actually since many years in India. I'm talking about back in India. So I grew up painting, drawing, traditional painting. It's all about traditional art. So, and that's when, you know, when I was like, I could actually jump into digital world. I realized that I can take this art to next level. And there is an amazing thing that I've noticed is this is what it is, you know. And I must say that the kind of work I'm producing for Two Worlds Collide now, this is what, you know, it's literally going to help people a lot in the sense that it helps us understand that it's not just one thing, it's that little different things, it's that two different things that when they come close together, and that's when that amazing, the perfect things, you know, is created. So that's when, now I must say that it has really helped me along being in this jumping, having, you know, I'm in like two boats, but I wouldn't say that, you know, there's a saying, don't be in that, you should be now in one track, just have one view, one perspective. So I think it's all a personal experience and how you perceive things. So me personally, like it has immensely helped me, you know, having those experiences in different formats for different platforms, kind of, they all benefited from each other. So having this traditional art experience at the same time, the digital, they all, you know, complementing each other. So for example, before even initiating my artwork on a canvas, I do my prep work digitally. Get it confirmed that these are the colors, these are the sizes, and that's what is going to look beautiful on my canvas. So I literally don't have to waste my colors and then realize, oh, this is not what I was expecting. So pre-work and post-work, literally, I think that's the result of, you know, jumping in two boats, of being, you know, my legs on two different boats, digital and traditional. So yeah, it's beautiful. In terms of Two Worlds Collide, I have two different formats of artwork there, digital design. Concept remains the same. It's portraying how these two different worlds can come together and create that beautiful experiences. So I would say that, you know, all artists we all have 10 different things playing around in our mind, creative things. But I think we all as artists, we need a reason, a purpose to create, execute that. It doesn't happen. It's all in our mind, but I think we should thank Nandita for this. A big thanks to Nandita for creating that opportunity for us. We all need that one reason, one purpose. Why should I execute? It keeps postponing. I have things in my mind, I'll do it tomorrow. We don't never do it. So a big thanks to Nandita that she's created that platform, that opportunity. So I think it's amazing. It broadens. I think the perspectives of everyone is broadening now to look things differently. That's one thing I should say from Two Worlds Collide. It's beautiful. Thanks, Nandita, once again.
Just one more question, and forgive me for my ignorance, but I'm not really exposed to digital art as such. So I'm just wondering, how did you sort of translate these emotional complexities in this project through digital art?
I must say, yeah, that's a very good question. Exactly, that's what I would, in fact, end my discussion saying that I long for, or look for creating that balance between the technology and functionality or the emotion. That has been my challenge always. I always look forward to that. So it's like there is one leg in the digital thing. So I get there's lots to understand, explore when you get and jump into the digital world. And equally, it's the traditional world where you actually feel the colors on your wall. The digital art, it's beautiful and it's by itself. Whereas when you look at colors, the real colors on canvas, they are different. So I think they all have their own charms. And connecting, it depends how you are trying to work. I think you will have that experience once you jump into the exhibition. That's where it is to look for. It's beautiful. I must say that it's really, they are complementing each other very well. And Samantha, she has talked about the digital artwork, the dot painting that she's working on. There's a lot of similarities. Mine, in terms of what I call it is Alpona. I'm sure you're aware of that. So being in a South Indian family, I'm married to a South Indian family. So my day used to start working, before stepping out to create that one simple or complex, simple to complex, anything, but one single rangoli before you step out of the house. So it's like 12 years being in a joint family in a South Indian family. I'd been doing it was like an everyday work, everyday practice. So and there are this difference, different parts have, like, we have rangolis or those patterns in different colors, and in East we say we do it in one single color, which is white. So which is what I'm trying to implement with Sam's dot painting. So it's it's that one single mono color, white color Alpona, or what we call it as. And I see that the similarities are so, when they complement so beautifully, they are patterns. There are different kinds of patterns, beautiful by themselves. So when you put them together, it's up to us. It's that creativity when you comes, how you want to place them together, but they can be done very beautifully. So that's a creativity. I think you should be seeing them in the exhibition.
Last question for Nandita. The exhibition opens on the 3rd of October at the Melbourne Fringe Festival. Great job for pulling this off again with such diverse artists and such talented people. We've spoken about the things that people can expect, but what would be your one sort of not bait, but your one message to people as to, and also what should they expect?
Okay. Now, the exhibition actually, it starts from the 1st to the 13th, but the opening night is on the 3rd of October. So the thing that I want to say, it's about the third culture parent, who comes to this country and their newborn child is here, and they also want to understand the culture of what they're born into. I'm talking about whether it's a South Asian or whether it's or from other countries. So it's a must see for everyone to come and see, like, what can a book do? When you read a book, your imagination flows across everywhere. It takes you to another world. But as soon as you enter, people will be transformed into the two similarities. Now, jasmine is in high, you go everywhere around Melbourne, you can smell jasmine. And that's also a smell that we're associated with India. So the world is, when you enter, it's beyond the book. Okay, it's more than the book. Book is just what it called. Book is just there as a reference, but it's more than the book. Like with Samantha's 30 years of experience, Shipra's 15 years of experience, Laura's, sculpture and her memory, and like you'll see Rohit's painting about mythological characters coming up to life. So it's something that as soon as you enter the temple bells, the marigolds, the colors, my suitcase that I came here for 25 years ago, it's still there.
Okay, so that becomes an artifact now.
It's an artifact. And I'm doing with another chef, Haley, we have created the spice box with the 2 spice box of India and First Nation, different products and produce. So the smell, and you can feel everywhere, there's a corner of me, there's a corner of you, there's a corner of everyone. So it's not about me, it's about this fabulous artist, and I cannot do this without them. So thank you so much to every one of you for jumping
Thanks to you, Nandita, first. We wouldn't have done it without
with this crazy idea. I have this crazy idea, and people just said yes. So you just have to find another crazy person like you to do this. And I found 7.
Wonderful. But yeah, the crazy minds got together and have come out with something wonderful. All the best. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon and for sharing, all your inputs. I hope to see you on the exhibition.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank
you, Indira.